Japan deploys warships and unveils a $58 billion military surge as a Taiwan Strait showdown erupts. This headline shook capitals from Washington to Beijing. The Taiwan Strait, already a hotspot, is now the stage for a new confrontation. Japanese destroyers steamed out of port as analysts scrambled to interpret Tokyo's intentions. The record-shattering defense boost was met with shock and awe. As the world holds its breath, leaders rush to recalibrate. What will happen next? The Taiwan Strait, just over 100 miles wide, separates Taiwan from mainland China. For years it's been a flashpoint. Chinese warplanes and ships routinely test Taiwan's resolve. Now Japan's involvement raises the stakes even higher. Beijing claims Taiwan as its territory and hasn't ruled out force. Taiwan sees itself as sovereign, backed cautiously by the US and allies. The strait is now a chessboard for power. Each move risks a larger crisis. The world watches, waiting for the next move. Japan's decision to send warships into the Taiwan Strait is a dramatic break from its past. For decades after World War II, Japan's military was strictly limited by its pacifist constitution, but recent events have forced Tokyo to rethink its approach. When Japanese destroyers steamed past Okinawa, heading south, it was more than a show of force. It was a declaration Japan is ready to defend its interests. At the same time, Japan's government announced a stunning $58 billion increase in its defense budget. This is the largest surge in Japanese military spending since the Cold War. The funds will buy advanced missile systems, stealth fighters, cyber defense units, and anti-ship weapons. These investments are not just for show, they are meant to deter China and reassure allies. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's cabinet moved quickly. Within hours, defense officials briefed lawmakers in a tense emergency session. The message was clear. The status quo in the Taiwan Strait is no longer sustainable. Japan must be ready for any threat, at any time. The world noticed. Allies quietly applauded. Rivals bristled. Japan's bold gambit had changed the game. Why is Japan making such a dramatic shift? The answer lies in the evolving threats in East Asia. Over the past year, China has ramped up military exercises near Taiwan. Fighter jets, bombers, and warships have circled the island, sending a clear message of intimidation. Japan, whose southern islands are just a short distance from Taiwan, feels directly threatened. There are fears that a conflict over Taiwan could spill into Japanese territory. Some of the islands closest to Taiwan, like Yonaguni and Ishigaki, are only a few dozen miles away. Residents worry that they could become the front line in a shooting war. Japanese leaders have listened and responded with urgency. Another factor is the changing role of the United States. Washington remains a key ally, but there are doubts about America's willingness and ability to intervene in a crisis. Japan must prepare to defend itself, even if it stands alone. That means more ships, more planes, and more money. For Japan, this is not just about Taiwan. It is about national survival. The stakes could not be higher. Beijing did not remain silent. Within hours of Japan's announcement, China's foreign ministry condemned Tokyo's actions as reckless and provocative. The Chinese Navy deployed additional warships to the Taiwan Strait and conducted live fire drills just miles from Taiwanese waters. State media ran stark headlines accusing Japan of stirring up trouble and threatening regional peace. At a hastily convened meeting in Beijing, senior Chinese officials discussed countermeasures. The atmosphere was tense. Generals and party leaders reviewed satellite images of Japanese ships and debated their next move. A spokesperson warned that any interference in China's internal affairs will be met with firm countermeasures. The Chinese public, too, reacted strongly. Social media platforms erupted with nationalist slogans. Protests broke out in several cities, with demonstrators waving flags and chanting against Japan. Memories of past conflicts, especially World War II, surfaced, fueling anger and suspicion. For China, Japan's actions are a challenge to its authority and ambitions. The stage is set for a dangerous confrontation. The visuals are stunning. Japanese destroyers cut through rough seas, radar dishes spinning, missile tubes primed. On the Chinese side, sleek new frigates and missile boats race to intercept. The world's most advanced navies now stare each other down across a narrow channel of water. Inside government buildings, the mood is electric. In Tokyo, lawmakers crowd into emergency sessions, poring over maps of the strait and debating the next steps. In Beijing, military leaders consult with the Politburo. weighing the risks of escalation. Every decision is fraught with danger. Meanwhile, ordinary people feel the tension. In Japan, public opinion is sharply divided. Some citizens support the military buildup, seeing it as necessary for security. Others fear that Japan is being drawn into a conflict it cannot control. In China, nationalist rallies fill the streets, while in Taiwan, families brace for a possible blockade or invasion. News media broadcast the developments around the clock. The sense of crisis is impossible to escape. For Taiwan, Japan's intervention is a lifeline and, honestly, a warning too. Taipei has long relied on the support of the United States and its allies to deter Chinese aggression. Now, with Japanese warships in the area, Taiwan gains a powerful new partner. But the risk of escalation grows too. Every new ship, every dollar spent on arms, makes the region more volatile. The balance of power in Asia is shifting. China's military has grown rapidly, but Japan's new investments could tip the scales. If Tokyo, Washington, and Taipei coordinate their defenses, they could form a formidable barrier against Chinese ambitions. But coordination is never easy. Rivalries and mistrust simmer beneath the surface. Taiwanese officials have welcomed Japan's support, but they also worry about becoming the center of a major power conflict. The island's fate hangs in the balance. Leaders in Taipei scramble to strengthen their own defenses, calling up reserves and reinforcing coastal positions. The world watches as the pieces move across the board. The outcome remains uncertain. The risks of escalation are real and, well, pretty immediate. Any miscalculation, a stray missile, a collision at sea, a misunderstood radar blip, could trigger a shooting war. With so many ships, planes, and troops crowded into such a small area, the margin for error is razor thin. Diplomats are working overtime. Back-channel talks buzz between Tokyo, Washington, and Beijing. Each side tries to signal strength without causing an accidental clash. But trust is in short supply. Arms races have a logic of their own, and every nation feels compelled to prepare for the worst. Some analysts fear that China could launch a blockade of Taiwan, daring Japan and the United States to break it. Others worry that Japan's military buildup could provoke a preemptive strike from Beijing. In either case, the consequences would be catastrophic, not just for Asia, but for the world. The coming weeks will be critical. Every move and countermove will shape the future. This is not just an Asian crisis. The entire world has a stake in what happens next. The Taiwan Strait is a vital artery for global trade. Nearly half of the world's container ships pass through these waters. Any conflict would send shockwaves through the world economy, disrupting supply chains and raising prices everywhere. Beyond economics, the showdown tests the international order. Can nations resolve disputes peacefully, or will force decide the future? The answers will echo far beyond Asia. Countries in Europe, Africa, and the Americas are watching closely. Alliances will be tested. New rules for the 21st century are being written in real time. In capitals from Berlin to Canberra, leaders call for restraint and dialogue. But the military buildup continues. The shadow of war looms larger each day. The world cannot afford to look away. The stakes are simply too high. The Taiwan Strait showdown is far from over. Japan's warships remain on high alert. China's military drills continue. Taiwan fortifies its defenses, bracing for whatever comes next. The region stands at a crossroads. Every leader must now decide: escalate, negotiate, or retreat. History offers few easy answers, but one thing is certain: this crisis will shape the future of Asia for decades to come. The decisions made in the coming days could mean peace or war, stability or chaos. The world's great powers are locked in a dangerous new rivalry, with the people of Taiwan caught in the middle. Ordinary citizens hope for calm, but prepare for the worst. In Tokyo, Taipei, and Beijing, families stockpile supplies and watch the news with anxious eyes. The world's journalists, diplomats, and soldiers wait for the next headline, the next move, the next signal. The Taiwan Strait has become a crucible for the 21st century. The choices made here will shape history. The world is watching and holding its breath.